Hi, you guys. Welcome back. I'm recording this a day after I recorded the last episode because so much broke through in that share this morning. And I want to be as raw about it as I can because I've been crying all morning and I feel like I finally broke through my rings of Saturn. So you'll know that all of this has come through because I was cleaning out my liver and I was having the right people to mirror things to me. This would not have happened without my beautiful sister Aisha, and I obviously am going to link her information below for you guys, but she and I are able to go toe to toe with each other and really push each other in our wounds. And sometimes maybe me more than she is pushing me, but I have asked her to step up to that role because I feel her as my right hand, like the one person that can reflect to me when I'm off. So a week ago, you could tell it was so hard for her to have this conversation with me. And she let me know that sometimes I push too hard and that I don't have the softness that I am with like my animals. And she brought up how I always say, let mama hold you, let mama love you, and I'm always singing to them, and the way that I speak to them is like a totally different personality that comes out of me with animals. And she said, I wish that you would use that with me and with us. Like there's something about that part of you that is just so pure. And I said, but that's like baby talk. Like, why would I talk to you that way? And she said, well, my moon is Cancer and I need that. The thing is, I didn't have that either growing up. I didn't have that kind of nurturing that was that soft. So I only felt safe being that way with my animals. And here my sister was reflecting to me that she needed that as well. And it was the first time that I have ever had someone say to me like, no, like I like that side of you. I like that like silly like person that's not like so holding it together, And so I was like, okay, I'm going to think on that and hold that and see what that feels like. But that conversation was so difficult for her and I could feel it. And I know, like, it took everything in her to talk to me. And she said that I had made a comment, like we were discussing something and helping a friend, and she gave her perspective on something, and I talked and said, oh, I don't see it like that, I see it like this, or I like the way that I kind of shut her down. It really like rubbed her. And guess what? Her Saturn is where my sun is. So it's all perfect, and I didn't even remember saying what she said that I said, but I know I must have because it hit her and it touched her wound. And this is why I want to have this candid conversation about this, is like the people that we pull into our constellation of mirrors. They hold the exact keys that we need to express and move through these wounds. And it's like just having the trust and vulnerability with each other to go there and know that no matter how the conversation goes or how it lands in the other person's body, it's definitely done with love and grace, and there is not going to be hurt feelings. You know, it may take the other a few days to like regroup and understand and work it through their system. But that conversation came, it would have been on Wednesday, and my cleanse was supposed to start on Friday. So it was like the catalyst to start getting these energies moving in me. So last week, you guys know I shared all of the stuff with my dad, but this morning I woke up with such a beautiful new perspective for the gateway that's coming up in the spring equinox. We've started a playlist, and that playlist is just songs that each person is feeling called to at this time as we start to pull together the energies and the constellations and the wounds and the love. And it's just becoming this like soup of all the energies that want to be brought into light during this gateway. And I have added many songs, but there are 3 that this morning made me, like, they came to my consciousness of understanding why I chose these 3 songs. And I'm going to share them with you because I want you to understand, like, it's just a taste of what these gateways are about. And I'm having this openness and this vulnerability because as you guys know, it's so hard to put into words what happens in these gatherings, but I'm just going to give you what's already happening for me in this build up for the next one. So I'm driving this morning to Wright's Field, which is where I hike with my dogs every morning. And the first song comes on my speakers in the car, which is All the Love in the World by MC Yogi. I'm going to link them all below so you guys can listen to them because I'll get in trouble if I play them on here. But when that song came on this morning in the car, I just started bawling. And then the image of my biological father started coming through, and I knew it was time to set down those bags. Now, I can see other people's bags and I can help them understand when it's time to set them down, but in myself, I need reflections to see them in my own body. So I knew it's time for me. He's, the last time I saw him was 5 years ago at my grandmother's funeral, and it might have been longer even. I think it was longer. God, time just goes by so fast. Yeah, it has to be 8 or 9 years. He didn't look healthy. He looked, like he was on borrowed time back then. And you'll understand from the words of this song that no matter where we are in the process of this incarnation, we've wronged people and we've hurt people. And I know that when you get close to that space in yourself where it is time to let go of this incarnation, you start to think about the people that you came here to, in his case, birth or love. And for some reason, we weren't meant to have a conscious relationship in this life. But I could take the time now and tell him that I don't hate him. I don't have any hard feelings. And if anything, I have compassion now for his journey here. So I don't have his number, but he, a few years ago, friended me on Facebook. And so I knew I could at least get some message out to him. So I sent him a message and I attached this song. And what happened in that moment is I broke open. Because all of that veiled love that was behind the walls of Saturn just came flooding in. all of the things that I have felt like I'm not good enough, or I'm not ready, or what do I possibly have to share? All of those harsh criticisms of my own journey, they just came like this tidal wave of love to my heart. So I sent that, and then I sent the next thing I felt is I needed to let my sister know all of the energy that she gave to me in that extremely hard conversation. Just broke me, like really broke me open and broke me past my loop with Saturn. So I left her a message and just wanted to share, like, I wouldn't be here without you, and I just have so much gratitude. You know, all the people in our lives, they push us for a reason. You know, when we're in it, it doesn't feel like that. Even Richard closing the door on me during the cleanse was part of it. You know, like, all of it is part of it. So the next song that I want to share is called Butterflies, and it's by Tom Odell and Aurora. And this one to me is incorporating back into my experience all of the hurts that have been perceived hurts, but really were just like gifts, and understanding that these energies are just here for us to remember and to dance with, and to get to the point where we know that it's part of us. If I didn't this morning break through and see, like, for the first time in my life, that all I have to do is love this person, then I'm loving myself. Because if we're not the same thing, I don't know what we are, you know? And even though I don't know him, this is like crazy because he never raised me. You know, I don't have things that I could attribute to him hurting me. But yet they were all right there under the surface. The biggest one being my stoicism with people. I always thought that was coming through my maternal line. But it turns out that all of that was being held in this nugget that was like waiting for me to get through with my father and his upbringing and his understanding of what love is and how we nurture each other and what isn't like safe to share, and what, you know, like what you keep held in your chest and what you keep under wraps because, you know, that one said this and now they don't deserve this attention from me. Today, that's just gone. I feel like, man, the more love that I can just give, the more it's just going to come right back, you know? And we, obviously, in this journey, it's not an easy one. We need all the love that we can get back. So the butterfly song to me is just like that sprinkle of fairy dust that's like, don't worry, we're here and it's part of us, and like incorporating it back in. Okay, and then the third song is called Holy Dust. And this one is by Wildlight, the Polish ambassador, and Ayla Nereo. And this one I was like, it's a dance. You can feel it's a vibe. But in the vibe, it's talking about you have to go through the curvy lines to get to where we are today, which is like incorporating and going on the journey. You have to go on the journey. And I had to go through this journey of fully breaking down in my own despair and my own self-loathing to see like a way out of that matrix, you know. And it was through like the curvy lines coming together to weave into this line, this centered experience that I can see it from all perspectives. And without these 3 songs, I don't think that I would have gotten there. That's the power of centered music. When you hear a tone or you hear something, you may play it for 20, 30 times and you don't know why. It just feels right in your body, but it's working. It's magic on the on the lower levels, helping you get there. And I finally saw it. And I was like, yes. And so as I'm walking still with the dogs, the next person comes up, and it's one that I didn't talk about in the last episode, which I thought I had healed. When I first started my awakening, the very first thing that I did with my healer that I had that activated me is to let go and set down the bags of my relationship with my stepfather. My mom met him, I think I was 4, and they were together until my 30s. So he was the one father figure that I had. So it was the most painful. I couldn't even speak about him without bursting into tears. It hurt so bad. It was right on the tip. If my father wound is way down here and my brother wound is here, my stepfather was right at that, But the first thing that my healer Pontea had me do is on the full moon, write him a letter and just express all the pain that I was holding in that vulnerability. And it wasn't even for him, it was for me. So I wrote the letter and I read it to the moon, and then I burned it. And from that day, I let go of it. I knew that everything is exactly perfect, and I don't have any animosity. I don't have any hurt anymore. If I ever ran into him on the street, because he lives in San Diego as well, I would just be able to give him love. But here's the thing, I didn't take the next step. And so now, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later, it's coming up again. And about maybe 2 years ago, my mom's in touch with him and they had lunch or something. And he said his one regret in life is me and our relationship. And I knew at that point I could have reached out and told him, don't think that way. I love you. It doesn't matter. And I didn't. But it was because I wasn't ready. It still hurt. And just to give context, the reason he's not in my life is that he remarried, and his wife now doesn't want me or any of his past life in his current life. And I remember when we had that conversation, it hurt so bad because a lot of what Richard is a mirror of him, and they have so much in common. And all I wanted was for them to meet. And for me to meet his new wife, or his wife. It wasn't new at that time, he was like, it can't happen because she doesn't want you in my life. And I remember feeling so sad that he was with a person that had that much hatred in her heart, that his children, the ones that he raised, she couldn't allow that in his experience. But, so when my mom told me a few years ago that I was his one regret, I felt like, I'm sorry for that, but I'm not there yet. So on my walk this morning, he came in, and I knew that it was time to set that bag down. So I sent him a message with the same thing and saying, I'm so grateful for the love and the wounds, because he was the wound for me to keep, keep poking at this original wound, it's literally the next person in the journey that helped me to keep seeing myself, to keep the mirror to keep poking at something that needed to be expressed and just let go of. So I sent him a message, and I sent him also the song. And here's the feeling that I have, right? So I got in the car and I'm driving home, and I'm like, I have to share this part of it. Like, this is the messy, beautiful, like, amazing part of it. The sun to me feels like magic today, because now I can feel it all. Like, before there were layers between my heart and the sun. And on that walk, when I made that last text, I could feel like, oh my God, the ice melting, the stoicism melting, the veil between me and you, the thing that makes me think I have to be a certain way. That's not real. None of that's real. So my wound is the father wound. It's been my only wound, really, but it's at the core of all of them. And really, it's the feeling of being abandoned and coming back to understand why the abandonment needed to happen, so that I could see myself and that I could express myself in a way that isn't like anyone else, Like, it's not meant to be this cookie cutter experience of, now you're ready to teach people. Now you're ready to put your heart out there and express who you are. That doesn't exist, because for each person it's going to be different. And I kept looking for, like, I don't know what that is, but I don't like the examples that I've seen out there. I'm not there yet. Like, I kept saying, like, that's not you. So I couldn't bridge the gap to seeing that the truth is that it's me, And all the crazy, like, tears and lessons and journey and heart and messiness. That's how I'm supposed to be. So, where we go from here, I don't know. But it feels like a whole much more expansive place. And my heart is here for it. My heart is on the line. And it's like so fragile, but also strong. Because now that I've released those core wounds, really, what else is there, The pause. I want to talk about the pause. This was also a beautiful lesson that I received from Aisha. When we record on the ICU podcast, like, I have this energy that's just like, okay, like, who's speaking next? Or, like, trying to intuit and trying to feel into it, and then being so uncomfortable with that pause in between people's words. And the other day she said to me, but that's the magic, That's the intake. Instead of, like, I feel like I've been this constant output. Even with those two beautiful souls, like, I listen to what they're saying, but I'm already in my mind formulating the next, either my response to what they said, my, like, incorporation of what they said, but I'm already like ready to go, like, okay, and this, and you guys will see, I think we have 6 episodes out there, and you'll see I'm like that. I'm like, okay, like, and the other day she told me, like, but what if the pause is the medicine? God, so many beautiful things. And also knowing like the pause is part of this journey, you know, like there are, when we get stuck in our own patterns and our own loops in this spiral, is that our pause? Is that the natural pause? And I know it frustrates us. Like, I know we just want to get to the next thing. But what if like the body, the vessel, the heart, the mind, the soul need to be all in alignment to receive the next push, you know? And the pause is like the times that we're just in the cocoon and really feeling into what that feels like. Thank you. I need this space, and I don't know, I know a lot of you, and I'm deeply honored and grateful to be on this journey with you. And I want you to see it's not perfect. It's messy and it's like heartbreaking. And I know I'm not done. But I know that every turn around this spiral is making me more soft. It's helping me break down the walls. And I think that's how we get to the full expression of the soul. Because the soul doesn't have walls. Because we're all one.